Hey guys, it is Dan here from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, and I'm here with a very special edition of Lay the SmackDan. It's just me, none of the other guys are around, so I am going to lay the SmackDan on all things WrestleMania 39. And what an absolute barnstormer of a show it was. I will be back with my thoughts right after this. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action. So for those of you just tuning in, I am Dan. I'm from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. And I am here with a very special WrestleMania edition of Lay the SmackDan. So where on earth do we start on WrestleMania 39? Well, for me, this was probably one of the best WrestleManias in modern history. For me, it had everything this Mania. There were some absolutely incredible matches. There was some bits that, I'll get into a little bit later that I wasn't overly keen on. But, all in all, I think, WWE did a fantastic job with this WrestleMania. Triple H's first WrestleMania that he's booked, there are still a few, maybe a few Vince fingerprints still over this somewhere. But all in all, this WrestleMania from start to finish, I think, was very, very good. And so the best way to start, I guess, is to go right the way back, as far back as we can in WrestleMania. And that is with Austin Theory and John Cena, the United States Championship match, which opened WrestleMania weekend. Now, God, it was so long ago, I've actually forgotten a lot about this match, but no, I'm joking. John Cena, I think if you watch the prediction show that we did, myself and Lucas, we're going backwards and forwards on this a little bit because of potentially what could happen tomorrow night on Raw. On the subject of that, actually, we will have Scott and Rob will be doing a little bit of a review of the Raw after WrestleMania. They'll have their instant reactions to Raw after WrestleMania, which I guess will be at around 4 a.m. UK time. We're also going to have a live build-up of that as well. But yeah, so overall, that match with John Cena and Austin Theory, I thought it was a very good match actually to open WrestleMania. It gave Austin Theory a very good opportunity on the grand stage. And obviously John Cena is no stranger to opening a WrestleMania, especially for the United States Championship as well. Remember, his very first WrestleMania was against the Big Show, and it was for the US title in the opening contest. We had to go all the way back there to WrestleMania 20 for that one. And then 21, the year later, he again opened the show in Hollywood, defeating JBL for the Undisputed Championship. And damn, have I got a bit to say on the Undisputed title a little bit later on. But yeah, that match obviously was a very, very good opening to WrestleMania, in my opinion. And then it just, I guess, exploded into life with this next match. The WrestleMania showcase match, it was Braun Strowman and Ricochet taking on the Street Profits, taking on the Alpha Academy, taking on the Viking Raiders. Now, often we have matches where it can kind of get a bit dominated by like one or two individuals, but this match had 8 men in it. And, without trying to keep this kind of clean, it could get a bit like cluster essentially, with 8 people in there, but it didn't. It just felt very, very fluid, very natural, and every single guy managed to get in like some really good offense and really show what they could do. And really did like Braun Strowman coming off the top, and it was essentially a game of one-upmanship the whole time here. I correctly for this one predicted that the Street Profits were going to win. Talking of predictions, obviously, going back to the start of WrestleMania, this was actually not even before night 2 of WrestleMania. This was before night 1 of WrestleMania, our predictions table. Remember, all scores at WrestleMania are worth double bubble. So it would be 2 points for a correct answer. But yeah, so going into that match, that was just a barnstormer of a match. And then that intensity kind of stayed at a level with Seth Rollins taking on Logan Paul. This match, obviously, it went like it was, I think, the third longest match on the entire show. So it was a very, very, very good showcase. And obviously KSI coming out in the Prime Bottle costume as well was just that, yeah. It was quite a funny moment. It did make me laugh, seeing him obviously, and then going through the table with Logan Paul. Again, you want a very good singles match at WrestleMania with a celebrity. You just stick Seth Rollins in there. I mean, do we even still call Logan Paul a celebrity? I mean, he's been doing this for seemingly a little while now. It's just been over a year, and he's actually signed to WWE. I mean, I don't know whether it's fair to still call him a celebrity, or whether he's actually like one of the guys kind of thing now. But yeah, so I think WrestleMania obviously started out very, very good, and yeah, then it carried on in that vein as well, with Becky, Lita, Trish taking on Damage Control. And I always found it strange though with this one. I mean, let's go to the video package at the very start of this. The video package at the start was incredible. The whole the comic book thing, and then Trish and Lita coming out, Becky coming out, and it all being in black and white, and then bang, the music hits, lights come on, everyone, bright, bold colors. It really popped off the screen. And, for me, this match, all 6 women in this match did a fantastic job. And Trish and Lita, considering how long they'd actually been away from the business, they came in and they put on a fantastic performance, the pair of them. And, they're not full time, and Lita obviously being one of the tag team champions. For me, it's always a tricky thing with, especially with the tag team titles here, because for me, I would rather have seen Becky and Lita defending the tag titles rather than have this match. Or if they were going to have this match, then make the women's showcase match for the tag team titles and just put the belts on somebody else potentially. But yeah, so I'm kind of halfway through WrestleMania night 1 now. So yeah, I want to know what you guys think as well. So just leave your comments in the little comment box down below. I'll try and get to them as I can. Leave me some questions on my thoughts on WrestleMania. I'll do my best to answer them while we're on air. But yeah, it's a very, very good opening half of WrestleMania. Now comes my first kind of gripe of the show. Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. Now, let's get the positive bits out of the way. Loved the intro for Dominic, where he came out as the ex-condom in the handcuffs and the prison van and all of that. Loved the Rey Mysterio presentation coming out, the little tribute to Eddie Guerrero, rest in peace, Eddie. But yeah, what did I not like about this? Well, you're trying to do a serious father versus son grudge match, and then WWE have to throw in some ridiculous sponsorship. I can't even remember what it was. I think it was some breakfast cereal or something. But it's why? Of all matches, why would you put it on this one where it's a actual serious kind of grudge match? It's the most pointless thing to put that in that place. But yeah, loved the workings of this match, you can tell that Ray and Dominic have been planning this match since like Dominic was about Ray's height, so probably from when he was about 6 or 7 years old. And the spots, obviously, with Dominic throwing the drink in Aaliyah's face, Angie slapping him. I mean, come on, Angie. I mean, surely you could give him a bit of a harder slap than that. It was more like a little tap round the face, like, you know, just proper lay it in, give him a clip round the ear roll for, you know, all those nights he came home late and all those ungrateful moments of Dominic. But yeah, and obviously, like with Judgment Day coming out, and I don't know, are we still calling them Legado del Fantasma, or are we now calling them the LWO coming out to make the save? Was a bit strange though, the baby faces being having the one man advantage over the heels, basically. So like the Judgment Day being outnumbered, you'd think it'd really like be the other way around, but I guess you couldn't exactly have Rhea out there because Rhea was obviously going to be in the next match when she was taking on Charlotte Flair. But yeah, overall, I thought this match was really, really, really good, and it did everything that it needed to do. I was very surprised at the result, actually, though. Very surprised that Ray actually went over in this one, because I would have said that I was probably more confident on Dominic winning this match than with like most of the matches on this card, because you'd think the thing that Ray would want to do is kind of, I guess, put his son over at WrestleMania. But I do think it then kind of leans into a possible well, it could even lead into, like, say, a best of however many series, you know, because obviously Backlash being in Puerto Rico, and obviously the Bad Bunny things there as well, you know, so potentially there could be scope for them to do a match there, potentially like pay it off at SummerSlam potentially. Obviously, we've got Money in the Bank coming over here as well. You know, I'd love to see them, you know, tussle over here as well, which would be very, very good for the UK crowd. But yeah, really loving the work that Dom's doing in the Judgment Day. And, you know, subject of Judgment Day, it does lead me nicely into the next match. And Rhea Ripley finally getting her crowning moment, taking on the Queen Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And Rhea Ripley looked $1 million in this match. Charlotte Flair as well, you know, kudos to both ladies. Hats off. You know, what a performance they both put in. You know, I am struggling to think of a bad match on this entire night of WrestleMania. That is honestly the quality. If you had just given me these matches as one WrestleMania pay-per-view, I would not have been disappointed in the slightest. I would have said that was a very, very good show. Was it WrestleMania 17 levels of great? That's a debatable one, because obviously WrestleMania 17 is still up there for most as the greatest WrestleMania of all time, pretty much. But, you know, for me, I think it's you know, I think it was just really, really well worked, this match. You know, really did like it. Liked how Rhea and Charlotte, you know, how they worked together so well. You know, obviously, Charlotte attempting the figure eight, Rhea escaping it, top rope German, the spear from Charlotte. You know, so much. And Rhea becoming the first woman to win the Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, and Women's Tag Team Championship, and becoming the youngest lady to ever do so as well. It, you know, it just shows what faith WWE have in her as well. And the finish, though, the Avalanche Riptide. Oh my God, that was a thing of beauty, that move. You know, just they both left it all on the line. You could see Charlotte after the match, like sitting at ringside. She had a smile on her face as wide as LA, and it was just incredible. Really, really, really good. You know, I guess the crowd then just needed a bit of a breather, because obviously we knew what the main event was still to come, and you know, they wanted the crowd, I guess, at top notch. And then, we're met with the host of WrestleMania, The Miz. And obviously they were announcing the attendance of night one, which was 80,497. And Snoop Dogg said to The Miz about having a match. And who should come out? None other than Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee coming out to, I mean, it was a very, very good reaction. I mean, they really should have got Seven Nation Army back. That was banging last time. But yeah, it was actually a really, really good little match that they had together. I mean, it only went about 3.5 minutes, but for the time that they actually had here, it was a very good kind of filler between I would say the co-main events for the show. And then obviously we did get into what was the main event of night one, that being the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the undisputed tag team championships. Now, this was the first tag team title match ever to main event at WrestleMania, and only the second tag match in history, in general, to main event WrestleMania after WrestleMania 1, all the way back in 1985, a full 3 years before I was even born. So it's the first time in my lifetime that there's ever been a tag team main event at WrestleMania. And it just shows that we are in a Triple H era of wrestling when you have a tag team match that is built that much that they can go out there. They can be just four of the most incredible guys that they could. The Sami Zayn kicking out of the 1D was just different levels of shock. It was very similar to Brock Lesnar ending the streak levels of oh my god, because nobody had ever done it before. I guess it's always the same when when something's kicked out for the very first time. It was obviously nice with Jay then hitting Sami with the haluva kick. And it was just, for Sami, obviously getting the victory at the end was really nice. And I think it was quite synonymous that it took 3 haluva kicks, a stunner, and Sami Zayn getting the final pinfall as the final nail in that kind of Usos chapter, which was just, it was just so good. Such good levels of storytelling throughout this match. And if there are any of you out there that are watching that you've got visions of being a professional wrestler, or you are a professional wrestler, go back and watch this tag team match. This was just it was the most, I would go on record saying this is the best tag team match I think I've ever seen. And maybe people say, well, there's this match, there's that match, but I don't, people know me. No, I don't watch AEW. I don't watch Ring of Honor. I don't watch any of that stuff. That's, but that's just me. But from my personal point of view, from the wrestling that I watch, WWE, this is the best tag team match I think I've ever seen. And Kevin Owens becoming a Grand Slam champion, ironically as well, the first time that both these guys are holding tag team gold in WWE as well. It was long overdue as well. And I know that some people are like, well, the women should have main evented WrestleMania. Nah, this was the correct choice. 100% this was the correct choice. Also as well, just going back to the Rhea Charlotte match, just for a quick second. They made a little bit of history in that as well. They did mention it on commentary, but the first time that there was ever a WrestleMania match where they had a female ring announcer, 2 female competitors, a female referee, and it was for the women's championship. So, kudos to them as well, continually smashing down barriers in wrestling. But so going back obviously to the tag team match, that was the main event of WrestleMania night 1. And it's just when you're thinking damn, this was a great, great show. we then had to go through all over again for night 2, where we kicked off with Brock Lesnar versus Omos. Now, this match, you were thinking, okay, this is going to be like the 205 Live, flippy dippy, flying all over the ring kind of match. No, I'm joking. For me, I think the main thing going into this match was, will Brock Lesnar hit an F5? Now, for those of you that have watched Brock Lesnar's WWE career, he was throwing F5s around on guys Omos's size way back when he first started. I remember one of the first people I see him coming in and hitting the F5 on was Rikishi. Now, Rikishi was not a small man. And Brock Lesnar made it look like nothing. He literally picked him up, bam! Big Show. Won the title by F5 in the Big Show. So I guess, yeah, they made a big deal of him F5ing Omos. But Omos is not actually the biggest guy he's hit the move on. But I thought it was good, though, that it only took one F5, obviously, for him to do that as well. So it didn't need, obviously, didn't need to have any more in that one, to be honest. So we then moved on to the women's showcase tag team match, which was Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez taking on Natalya and Shotzi, taking on Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, taking on Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. First thing I will say, I was disappointed that there was no tank. Shotzi, where was the tank? Yeah, see, for me, I mean, I thought the match was okay. Obviously, Ronda submitting Shotzi with an armbar. It was what, 8.5 minutes. It was a palatable match. It's not something that I'm gonna say like, oh my god, you need to go and watch this match. I think for all of the 8 women in the match, they had, they had that great opportunity. They got their WrestleMania moment, and it wasn't a bad match. Just this thrown together tag team malarkey. I mean, you could say, it's a bit hypocritical because of Kevin and Sami, but how many matches as a tag team in their entire careers have like Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez had? How many have Natalya and Shotzi had? It seems like Natty just gets a new tag partner every year. And Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, obviously, we think that was meant to be this spot for Carmella instead of Sonya Deville. Not heard, obviously, about her well-being, but, we do wish Carmella all the best in whatever it is that she's got going on at the moment that caused her to miss this. But, yeah, let's now get on to the match that was just so hard-hitting. Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Sheamus, triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, for me, this was... it was always going to be a match where you're thinking, okay, just how much are these 3 men going to beat the ever-loving poop out of each other kind of thing? And yeah, they didn't disappoint. Like, they left everything in the ring. The fact, obviously, that Drew and Sheamus they go back years. Like, I think they said something about like 20 odd years of friendship, and you would not think these guys are friends. The way they were hitting each other, how blooming hard they were. Each of them were just walloping each other in this match. It was just, yeah, so good. And, for me, it's not necessarily a case of, this is going to be like a 5-star, like, we're going to lock up, we're going to do this, do that, we're going to do all these fancy moves. No, it was just a go out there, make it look legitimate. So if someone's turning the channel over to professional wrestling and they're watching this match, they're watching 3 big guys just beat the hell out of each other. This is what this was. And, Sheamus hit bro kicks a Gunther. Drew pulled him off. Drew hits a Claymore. Sheamus connecting. It had everything. Near falls galore as well. In the end, Gunther won the match, hitting a powerbomb onto Sheamus, onto Drew McIntyre, then powerbombing Drew to retain the championship. And you know what? I think the Honky Tonk Man's record is probably going to be over after this one. Oh. So we get on now to the second women's championship match of the weekend. And that saw Bianca Belair defending against Asuka. Now, for this, Bianca actually going into WrestleMania 3 years running and winning 3 consecutive title matches. I think for a women's side, that has to be some kind of record, you know. But yeah, these two, I mean, we all were thinking going into it, this was going to just be an incredible match, as it always is whenever Bianca steps between the ropes. And yeah, Bianca just had so many like feats of strength as well. Powerbombing Asuka to the outside, attempting a top rope KOD, Asuka blocking that, Asuka going for the Asian Mist and missing it. And then Asuka countering that into an armbar. And then the strength Bianca showed, lifting Asuka while she's still in the hold to then hit the KOD to eventually, retain the championship. And it's like, wow. Like, we've still got 2 matches to go. Now, I was thinking, like, they've got to shove something else on here, because by the time this match finished, there was probably at least an hour and a half, 2 hours left of this show. And I'm thinking, so either you're going to go with, say, a good 45 minutes for Hell in a Cell and a good 45 minutes for the main, or something else is happening here. And then we get The Miz coming back out along with Snoop Dogg and announcing the attendance for night 2 of WrestleMania, which actually had more than night 1. So night 1 was 80,497. Somehow, this one, they managed to get an extra 9,000 people in that building. I don't know how. Like, you don't just get another, 89,395 people. Meaning that 161,892 people watched WrestleMania live. Miz obviously was complaining about not being ready for the match with Pat McAfee the previous night. And then what do we hear? Here comes the money! Shane McMahon coming out. The first time we have seen Shane since the 2022 Royal Rumble. Came out, challenged The Miz. Snoop Dogg made it official. But then, unfortunately, just a minute into the match, Shane McMahon going for a leapfrog on The Miz, landed awkwardly and sadly tore his quadriceps, causing that match to be stopped. But you know what? I have to say, credit to The Miz, Snoop Dogg, whoever it was who made that call. Just kudos to them for on the fly just saying to this, just whack The Miz. And Snoop Dogg obviously going in, punching The Miz a couple of times, hitting the people's elbow, winning an impromptu match, making The Miz the first man ever to lose matches on both nights of WrestleMania. I'm sure that's not a record that he is going to want. Though, who I did really feel sorry for this whole show? Bobby Lashley. Like, he came out, obviously, towards the start of the show with the Andre the Giant trophy. And it's like, surely you could have found something for him. LA Knight was sitting there. That was written. Oh yeah, I'm LA Knight. Yeah. Like, why are you not putting me on WrestleMania in LA? Yeah. And that match kind of writes itself. But yeah. Hey, who am I? I don't book this stuff. So yeah, I did feel a bit for him really. But yeah. So we're getting then to the penultimate match before the main event, and that was Hell in a Cell, Edge and Finn Balor. First thing I want to say, thank you for getting rid of that god awful red cell. Going back to the normal, like silver colored Hell in a Cell, made it look a lot more legitimate. I did like the little touches though with the chairs and kendo sticks all being like red and purple, which was really good. Yeah, the entrances alone for this match. Edge is like mixing with like the Brood stuff, and then straight into Metalingus. That was incredible. And the Demon entrance is always just something off the charts. Glad I got to see that myself live a couple of times now, and it's just so good. Yeah, Balor. I don't know if you guys have seen the picture of it. I mean, I'm not going to put it up on here, but Finn suffering this awful gash on his head. Literally had to have stitches during the match. It's just, oh my days, it looked awful. That was Edge literally threw a ladder at him. It just smashed him on the head as well. It was awful. I did like though that this match didn't have interference because sometimes although they say they shouldn't no one can get in, but we've seen it over the years so many times inside Hell in a Cell. It's interference after interference after interference. And to be honest, they did give it the perfect opportunity for it when they opened the cage, obviously for Finn to get the medical treatment on his head. And I think Edge was seemingly a bit thrown off with it. But yeah, he's kind of like the ultimate professional. Like perhaps they could have sent Judgment Day, like Priest and Dom down potentially to like do a little beat down on him or something throughout. But it kind of did work, worked how worked pretty well. Did really like the spot though with Balor when he went to do the coup de grace from the side of the cell. It was really good. Going to while Edge was laying on the table, you see Edge moved out of the way and just that straight through the table. One thing I didn't really like though was you could see the table was already broken when Edge was laying on it. You could see it bowing in the middle. You could see the cuts at the side. Just like, come on, WWE, it's WrestleMania. We want people to be safe, but if you can see that at home, it's does throw it off a little bit. But yeah, Edge obviously hit the spear, delivering a concerto to Finn Balor for the victory. So we finally reach the main event of the entire weekend. It was the match that was built up. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Now, this match was everything really you would want from a WrestleMania main event. You kind of knew that there was going to be some kind of shenanigans when you noticed that Heyman and Solo were actually out with Roman. Really like Cody's entrance as well. Obviously, going over to Brandy, going over to his daughter, to his mum, and Brody Lee's son, Brody Lee Jr. there, handing his weight belt to him, which actually did play a bit of a part in this match. Actually, Solo Sikoa obviously getting involved and hitting Cody with that a couple of times. It was it was a strange one though. Like the finish of this, I've seen a lot of people are not happy the fact that Roman Reigns ended up winning this match. So, spoilers obviously if you've not seen it, Roman Reigns is still your undisputed WWE Universal United States Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of the world. But yeah, it's obviously there was a lot of like near falls in this, and the fact that obviously Roman was kicking out of Cody stuff. Cody was like, it was so many times you thought Cody's got this now. This is it. This is it. This is it. And Roman kicks out. Then you have the ref bump. The ref gets taken out. Now, this is the bit that always surprises me. They're like, oh my God, what now? It's like, well, we've literally seen it. Sometimes a referee will get taken out and then another ref comes straight in like 10 seconds, 15 seconds later. You know, I was kind of hoping though for a Charles Robinson just like come sprinting down the ramp. That, you know, size of that ramp, I think, you know, he probably still would have been running today, to be honest, try and get there. Been interesting though, to see if he'd have got there quicker than the Iron Sheik getting to the ring at WrestleMania 17. But yeah, I liked Cody's tributes to his dad, obviously the bionic elbow, and you know, followed up a few Cody cutters in there, and the finish though, you know, Solo hitting the Samoan spike, the Usos coming in, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn coming in to try and make the save. You know, Roman hitting a massive spear on Cody, you know, to retain the title. You know, it's just like for some people that didn't like this finish, you've got to think the bigger picture, I think. May the 27th, we are what? Less than 2 months away from this. May the 27th. Roman Reigns is going to hit 1,000 days as the Universal Champion. Now, in the modern era, we have not seen anything close to that level. Now, if we were going into this show with Roman on, say, what, 840, 850 days, I don't think WWE would have been that concerned about it. They probably would have put the belts on Cody. But I think because of how close it is, it just makes it that much better. It made it just that, you know, that the decision, it made it that much easier to, I guess, to digest, sort of thing, because obviously the marketing in 1,000 days as champion just kind of writes itself, really. But then it's kind of holding the WWE title hostage then also for it's now 365 days, pretty much. Same time as Bianca's been the Raw Women's Champion. But interesting to actually see what they do on Raw tonight with it, actually. Yeah, if you've not already heard, we are going to be doing a live build-up of the Raw after WrestleMania. Scott and Rob will be doing that. They'll be talking all about Raw after WrestleMania. You can actually go back and look at a video they did. It will highlight a few people who they feel may be debuting on that show, returns, all that kind of good stuff over there. And there'll also be an instant reaction to Raw as well, the Raw after WrestleMania, which hopefully will kick back into gear, because some of them recently have not been that good. I'm looking at you, Raw after WrestleMania 35. That was awful. But yeah, so Roman Reigns obviously going in, as we said, towards this 1,000 day landmark. Now, it's not a million miles off now. I think it's like the event in Saudi Arabia. I think it's the King and Queen of the Ring event is when he will eventually hit the 1,000 days. Now, what do they do in the meantime? Because how long can you go on with just one person holding both of your main championships, essentially? Like, I'm thinking potentially, could they do a thing where, you know, Adam Pearce, Triple H could come out and be like, look, you know, we weren't happy with how the match ended last night, you know, too much interference in blah, 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 blah. You know, have like a match where it's just for the WWE Championship. And then legitimately you could think, okay, Cody Rhodes is going to win this, you know, But then you think, well, then is that moment now gone? Because that WrestleMania moment is just what it's all about. And people would say, all Cody's moment was the match at WrestleMania on that big stage. Obviously Cody going to AEW didn't have that opportunity to wrestle in front of 89,000 people. But, here, he had that opportunity. It was a very, very, very good account of himself as well. So, yeah. So for me, overall, I think, though, WrestleMania, it had some hits and misses. Don't get me wrong. Rhea Ripley becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion was just an incredible moment. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, an incredible moment. This Roman Reigns win, though, it's going to divide a lot of people. Like, it divided us even with the predictions. I think Lucas and Rob both went for Roman Reigns winning. Me and Scott both said Cody were going to win. So even us predicting the show, predicting what this was going to be, we even couldn't agree on that. And, the fact that everyone was going into this match thinking, it's Cody's time. Cody's winning. Cody's winning. Cody's winning. And then WWE kind of swerved us and had Roman retain the championships. Good on them. But yeah, as you guys do know, though, we do have a predictions table. Now, before WrestleMania went on the air, the table was as follows. I was top of the table on 42 points. Lucas was in second place on 39, with Scott and Rob both on 38 points. Now, for those of you that have been following the Rebellious Noise channel for the last 2 years, you'll know that Scott won in 2021, Rob won in 2022. So we can now reveal officially that the winner of this year's predictions with 56 points, obviously, it's me. It's me. I am the champ. The champ is here. He's not going to be in the Rhodes household, but he is going to be right here. Got the cup. There's obviously no one bothered to get me a trophy. Where's my bloody trophy, guys? Come on. I want a trophy, belts, confetti, the lot. I want all of that lot. Come on. Where's my pyro? But yeah, the budget doesn't stretch to that. Barely stretch to these mugs, to be honest. But yeah, it's always fun, obviously, doing those. If you guys haven't already, go back over to the Rebellious Noise channel. We've got a load of stuff over there that you guys can obviously you can watch. We've got different interviews, there's predictions, we've got reviews, everything, all of that kind of stuff over there. Go back as well, check out the instant reactions to night 2 and to night 1. Scott and Rob both, doing both of those. It was, they both were sitting there for hours on end. The work those guys put in over WrestleMania weekend, kudos to you guys. Thank you so much. They've basically kept this thing up and running for the majority of Saturday, Sunday, well into Monday morning. And they're going again later on this evening. That's why you've got to put up with this ugly mug for a start. So, yeah. So that, I guess, is everything for this very special edition of Lay the SmackDan. Yeah, WrestleMania in the bag once again, and just, yeah, it was just a night that was full of a weekend, that was full of shocks and surprises. But, overall, it was something that I was very happy with. I would gladly sit down and watch all of these matches again. And for me, that says a lot, because I have the attention span of a goldfish at times. And for me to say I would gladly sit and watch any of these matches again, that, is testament to this show. So well done to all the guys and girls that were on WrestleMania. Well done to everyone. Massive shout out again to everyone that's been keeping this channel going throughout WrestleMania weekend. Many thanks to all of you guys for tuning in to Lay the SmackDan, and also a very big shout out to all of you that have helped us get to a landmark number of subscribers. We also do have a comment here. Thoughts on Vinny Daniels debuting tonight? Heard he was seen training for the return at a performance center in Purfleet. Well, it's the same performance center in Purfleet, Vinny Daniels, that has seen the likes of Wade Barrett come through, that's seen the likes of Lewis Howley, or Elton Prince, from Pretty Deadly come through. So it's not out of the realms of possibilities, although I do think he may not make his flight in time and get over to wherever wherever Raw is coming from tonight. I guess somewhere in the LA area. I guess it's, I think they've renamed it now, but yeah, Staples Center, whatever it's now called. But yeah, that was pretty much all for that tonight. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. I've been Dan. You've been watching the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. Don't forget, guys, like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you very soon with the Raw after WrestleMania build-up and instant reactions. Take care, guys. Bye for now. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.